we want to create a few teams. One team will be for the origin of the platform, so the development and creation, and there will be a consensus protocol which will be programmed into the platform. And then the creation team will merge into the renounce team. So once we know that the smart contract is working exactly the way we want it to, we do something called renounce, which means we remove ourselves from the smart contract. So we want to make sure that not only all the necessary functions of the site are working, but also when we build out a solar, wind, or battery, that revenue is collected and accounted for, and taxes are paid automatically. So all of this stuff happens automatically, and then we renounce, meaning we can't change it after that. The purpose of that particular protocol will be that until either it dissolves or we create a version 2 and migrate everybody to it. So that's the other option. And then the third team would be the dissolve team. So we want a creation, a renounce, and a dissolve. And the dissolve team won't activate until all the solar, wind, and batteries have been built out and there's no more fossil fuel. So that will be in our mind, that's 2030. So the dissolve team would activate then. So we'll make all the decisions on if we're going to retrofit the platform to perform another value creation or dissolve it completely and create a new platform that does something else. Because the idea is not to have one of us be the face. The idea is for the platform to be the face. So whoever interacts with the platform becomes the face of the platform. And you can submit your own testimonials and receipts and proofs that you're receiving crypto, turning it into cash and paying down your system quicker. And then you can post your payoff days, because each day that goes by, you're getting closer to your payoff date. But each time you use our platform to pay down your system, the payoff day gets closer to you. So it's going like this, not like this, just moving to it. It's coming to you as you're moving to it. So the amount of days, the candle's burning at both ends. That's what we're saying. That is the fundamental purpose of our mission, which is to accelerate the build out of solar, wind, and batteries. So if you can create a payoff break even that goes like this, you're shortening the time that it takes to pay off. Hence, you're accelerating the build out. That's what we want to do. We want to be able to build a platform that will do this autonomously and decentralized, leaderless. The technology exists to do it. It's been around for a while. It's been digitized recently, which has helped explode it and proliferate it to everything that can be thought of. And we want to encourage people to copy and paste what we're doing. This is an open source version of value creation through clean environment as a result of building out solar, wind, and battery. So I want to encourage everybody to provide feedback after the creation. So we want to iterate to the point where we don't need to change the contract anymore, and then we renounce it. We absorb feedback after launch and iterate, and then we'll launch and renounce. So that may take months, that may take a year, but we'll get it. We'll get it there. I've seen projects that have been able to do it in week to 10 days. So it's possible, but I think we'll need more interaction and use cases and data to be able to renounce, because ours is way bigger than what they're doing. Then this is a global endeavor. So using any specific utility formula is only going to be necessary when you're interacting with the secondary marketplace. So you can list your break-even 1-to-1 ratios. So fundamentally, we want to create a platform that's on the blockchain. So this is Web3. So when you go to the website, it'll say connect your wallet. And when you connect your wallet, you've created an account and a password just by clicking connect your wallet. So every time then you go back onto the site, it'll automatically connect your digital crypto wallet. And then it'll know exactly who you are and what systems you're associated with and who you've brought on. And that's blockchain data. So that will never go away. And you can actually go to the blockchain and view it yourself. Everything's fully auditable. and immutable. So you can't change it and you can look at everything. So it's fully transparent, which is an important piece because we want the people to be able to look at all of the back office numbers anytime they want. So it's more like with how stocks work in corporations. We have 10Qs and 10Ks. The 10Qs are quarterly reports, 10Ks are annual reports. And every 3 months, you get to have a peek, a snapshot of where they are at that particular time. What we're offering is you get to look at it any second that you want, and it'll give you the up-to-date data, up-to-date numbers, so you can see if there's any volatility in the demand for what we're doing. And that would be any participant that wants to. Not everybody's going to want to look at the numbers. They're just going to want to benefit from participating in the platform. But the idea is that they'll be there and anybody will be able to audit at any time. But to be able to automate purchases of solar, wind, and batteries, installs of, and negotiations. So the negotiation piece is going to work like this. It's going to be, they'll know what we're about, know that we can help accelerate the payoff and build out, know that they can list a project on our site, which will then be viewable by all participants of the platform. And we get to vote on which projects to prioritize. And then there's a participatory budgeting aspect too. We get to vote how much of the budget goes towards these priorities. An equivalent of that would be in government, where we would not only be able to vote on the actual laws themselves, but then also be able to say, let's dedicate this amount of the budget towards that from the people. And that doesn't really exist in America. It exists in a few other places that have started to decentralize. But this is a fluid type democracy that would prioritize solar, wind, and batteries based on our budget and preference of the people. And then we'd have an AI in there that would identify bias and such, and we'd make an algorithm to where it wouldn't all be in the same place. It would make sure that it would be all over the world as part of our consensus protocol. So they're like, we need help. We have this amount. It costs this amount. We need this much. Let's negotiate. If the party that's interested has a certain down payment, then that would be calculated into the revenue that the platform would receive over time as a proportion of, so it wouldn't, but some people would be like, we don't have any money and we need this now. And we'd vote to see if we'd be able to accommodate for that full amount at that time. We'd receive the revenue into the platform from the sale of the electricity from the solar, wind, and batteries until not only we've broken even, but we've broken even on maintenance cost for the life of the battery and accumulated enough to install the next battery. So we're talking about a 20 to 80 year time frame, depending on what the battery can do. And most of them are getting 3 times the amount of cycles they used to just 5 years ago. So it should be a pretty clear formula and will allot the same amount of money that battery cost for the next one as well. So we're talking about a 2-3 year time frame to accumulate all that fund. And then we step down how much revenue we're taking, 4 steps. So 100%, 75%, 50%, 25%. And this is the amount of revenue that's coming to us from that system after all of these expenditures of future expenditures have been accumulated in the present from revenue. And then that's the part when we step down what we're taking that allows the entity to say, okay, this is now free. So we can either put a price on it and charge, or we can make this a free right for anybody that's using it, including a business entity, homes, whatever. And that way, nobody's locked in and there's always a sunset. So the whole idea of our platform is to sunset and dissolve after the build out of solar, wind, and batteries. But the thing is as this revenue is coming in, we're being backed by electricity. So the value of our platform is now being backed by a commodity, because we're arguing that kilowatt hours are a commodity, so watts, electricity itself, electrons are a commodity. And because it's a raw material, it's a raw input for the creation of materials. If you can break it down to where solar panels are the exact same thing as natural gas and coal, then solar panels would be a commodity, and wind and batteries and everything. But then the big piece here is we also, before we renounce, we want to plug in as many installers that exist right now across the globe, or have a part in the protocol that says this will remain open, so any installer can join over time. And then they log their information in, so it's based on jurisdiction then. So there will be some overlaps because there's more than one installer in jurisdictions. It would work like if there's more than one installer in that area, the AI would create proposals from each one of those installers, and then you'd be able to look at the different costs to you, just like, those car insurance apps or health insurance apps. So you'd be able to shop and look at different monthly prices that you would sign up for solar, but they'd all be lower because we're eliminating the sales part of it. So we'd drop down the price by some thousands and still be able to create a referral reward for anybody that would bring a person in that would buy solar wind or batteries from our platform, and or the platform would absorb that referral and it would go towards the build out of solar wind and batteries. So this way, we're not only accelerating the build out through paying systems down quicker, but we're accelerating the build out by eliminating the sales piece of it and creating kind of a referral affiliate marketing almost. So someone just like your neighbor sends you to the platform, and then you sign up through your neighbor's link. You buy a solar system through the shopping list, and then your neighbor gets a piece of the commission and the platform gets a piece of the commission. And it's all paid out in kilowatt hour coins that you can convert to fiat if you like, or you can donate and help build out the build out. You can donate. We will have that in there. I remember you saying that. So that should be an option, but not the focus. We're looking at a system, one platform that can reward people for kilowatt hours, that can make people whole for their net metering to pay off systems quicker, that can be a listing for entities that want solar, wind, and batteries at any scale, and that can also act as a solar sales force across the globe. And then when we have these things built, then we can start tweaking and rewarding based on participation. So Web3, proof of stake, if you keep your tokens on the platform, you'll get 5% per year. So this can be all built into the mechanics of the revenue. And then if they keep their tokens on the platform, then they'll get 5% more tokens every year. So it's like an interest. So proof of stake is exactly like interest. And then we'll have auxiliary coins, like I mentioned before, like air, land, water. So everybody would get a series of these coins based on how many kilowatt hours they're producing. And then we'd monetize those coins. There's a lot of ways we can do that, and we can talk about it later, but that might even be a way for academia to plug in, and use our data to enrich their own publications. Also, the trees planted and CO2 sequestered coins, those should be rewarded every month too. So there should be at least five auxiliary coins that have to do with clean environment, that each hold value that you can use in the ecosystem or trade for fiat. I mean, it will be more than just the kilowatt hour coin or the sun coin or whatever we're going to call it. And then at the point of dissolving, there should be like a payout to all participants. So we just divide it proportionally based on participation and amount of kilowatt hours produced over your participation in the platform, and then just give everybody the remaining money that exists at the end of the platform. So then we dissolve and pay everybody out. We want it to be to where no one is excluded. We want it to be where even for the people that can't buy solar in the end, that they would benefit from what we're doing. So everybody gets to benefit. But right now, due to our designs of living, there's giant structures with many people in them. So the owner of that structure would have to, talk to people to get solar, wind, and batteries. So I'm hoping the solar will spread across the world and microgrids will spread across the world, and then we just plug in solar, wind, and batteries into all of it. So we're not going to be selling the batteries. We're going to be facilitating connections with people that do. But I don't think that we should not have an inventory. No, we just want to be able to say, so our installer here is Tempo Solar. They signed onto the platform. They plug into all the manufacturers, say we need a battery at this location. Here's the funding. Here's the revenue agreements. And then they do everything. So we want to be able to plug into systems that do work and fill in the gaps where they don't, for sure. Afterwards, it should be desalinization and taking water out of the atmosphere, vertical farms, precision fermentation. And so those are other platforms indeed that we can build simultaneously.